We are live. We are absolutely direct with Claudine Chiamonte, who is a transformational leadership and relationship coach, helping successful professionals build trust, intimacy, and fulfillment. Her work includes the perfect blend between trauma-informed healing, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. With 3 decades of experience working with individuals and couples navigating complex dynamics, Claudine is an industry leader, and she has that perfect blend of helping professionals seeking to balance a thriving career with personal connection. Welcome to She Leads, She Sells, Claudine Chiamonte. Welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Glad to be here with you.
No, all good. Tell me who your ideal client is. Like, typically, who is the best person that you tend to help?
I really do tend to work best with people who are either entrepreneurs, founders, who are looking to revolutionize their relationship with themselves so they can, their intimate life can reflect that. So really coming back to owning what is their magic and power and how does that translate. And how I do that really is through pattern breaking, neuroscience, and somatic work, getting them fully integrated. So that is my ideal client. Someone who's a seeker too, Jay. Let's be really honest. I'm someone who I usually work with people who already have done some work on themselves and they really are recognizing what's working for themselves and not. So there's some self-awareness already in their space.
Perfect. I like the way that you've
Yeah.
broken that down. Clearly, you are an industry leader. You've got a podcast as well. But how are you getting visible to your ideal clients to invite them into your world?
Yeah, I do it through different mechanisms, of course, social media platforms, podcasts. I do run a monthly course called Love Rewired, and that is an opportunity to look at patterns, in the neuroplasticity, as well as how trauma, our attachment styles impact the formation of that trauma and how to then break it. So that's one mechanism. And the other is I do have a coaching program called The Alchemy of Love. It's another opportunity for me to work in a group setting, as well as I do one-on-one. I will say my one-on-one work has started to morph when I recognize I'm adding more medicine to my medicine bag. Recently adding hypnotherapy to that, as well as breath work, because some people don't always work with just the words and their mind. We really have to also access more of them or integrate. And so as I recognize those patterns in my clients, I have chosen to expand, I call it my toolbox, so that I can meet people where they are.
Amazing. And how did that hypnotherapy work? Was it a 2-day course or?
No, that I thought it was going to be actually a light course like that. And then we got out to Las Vegas. I went with my brother. We're like, oh, this will be fun. It was really pretty much 8 days at 10 hours a day, and top of really a trained certified leader. He also hired other certified hypnotherapists to be with us. So as we practiced, we were getting real-time feedback. We were having hands-on coaching and mentoring right there. I do find hypnotherapy cuts through a lot of the talk and goes back to an earlier time when whatever that scene is, I'll just say it that way, for the client, of when that pattern may have originated or a pivotal point when it started to get cemented. And we can go right there and kind of visit it and reshape the experience. And that moves the dial. It may not be like this, but we're not looking for that. We're looking just to change it by a few percentages, right? Because that opens up more perspective and possibilities for the client, and they can have a new experience. Yeah.
Amazing. And clearly it comes down to, we have to sell. Like, once we get visible and you get visible, what's your views on sales? I know when I speak about sales, I see it as something completely selfless. It's something completely pivotal to changing someone's life. How do you see sales?
I mostly have viewed it as an upward battle. And it has been in this past year, where I recognize it is a service and a value we provide to another. Because I can see what is possible for them, or I recognize I may have some medicine. It's not about the sale. It's really about their experience of the medicine or the intervention, and being with them at the cost and how painful it is to change something or choose something new and unfamiliar, and staying with them in that moment and having them see another future that maybe they don't, because this is the way it is. This is the way my spouse is. just who I am. That's who you married. And they don't feel that there's more options. And having them see that there's options, that's about them, not about. And as I change that and recognize it's about the giving, it has shifted my relationship to this thing that always had this reputation, the sleazy, whatever people adjusted. And I had it. I've definitely have had it. It's been a muscle I am actually actively building. Yeah.
Wow, very, very powerful. Let me know, what's the big vision for you over the rest of 2026? I know you're expanding your toolkit or learning all
Yeah.
of the things, which I find amazing. But yeah, what's next for you in terms of your contribution?
I'm going to say what's next is probably maybe a personal that leads to the external contribution. It's really important for me to get on a TED Talk stage. And I recognize, yeah, it could be my ego or not, but my pattern of staying kind of hidden and sheltered really didn't let me be seen. I didn't use my voice in a way that leveraged. And so getting on the TED Talk stage in August in Atlanta, Georgia is what's next. And I work towards that, not just in the signature talk, but who am I? Who am I becoming to be that person on stage? Right? Because if my shape and my system has stayed in the back, the co-executive, the co-commissioner, there's no co on the stage. So really learning how to step in and take up more of this space that is mine. It's what I also encourage and empower my clients to do. We've got to take up more space in our lives, right? Self-care is a beautiful concept, but if I don't think I'm worthy or I make the time or I don't prioritize, I feel like that's the same message that I get to lean into to be that guide to the people I serve. So it is a thing I'm moving towards, I'll say, an accomplishment. But if I have to be honest, the thing that is probably the biggest for me is really the integration of somatics into my work, seeing it as another expression beyond words, helping people get comfortable to tolerate, to sit in, get familiar back with their body and listen to that wisdom and not move from the discomfort too soon. That for me is a big part of the arc of transformation on a personal level and a professional level this coming year. So deepening that work.
Amazing. What are you reading right now? Yeah, I mean, I know when we were talking earlier, a couple of books came to mind, and
Yes.
this is one of the books that I'm digging into here in terms of Brene Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually have just finished Strong Ground by Brene Brown,
Oh
which
wow.
is where she kind of goes back about that book. And it's really been updated based on research and some of the political realities that are facing our corporate world and our country.
Okay.
So I just finished hers. I haven't picked up a new self-help book because I literally just finished it a week ago, but I started to watch Brene Brown and Adam Grant's new podcast called The Curiosity Shop.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm enjoying that. I notice for me, I keep a industry or self-help book going. At the same time, I keep something that I call more brain candy. So for me, it's thrillers.
Okay.
So I know I have a David Balducci book called, Absolute Power. That keeps me engaged in a different way. And then I move back and forth between both types of reading for myself, when I want to be nourished on a personal level and on a professional level. Yes. It's a great
It makes
question.
sense. So
Yes.
tell me, in terms of your work, are you dealing with people who are single, married? Like, what's the main angle there with the work?
I'm going to say a combination, but the theme is very similar. It is the externalizing of something that is really their internal responsibility. If he would only say this to me, if he would only hug me X amount of times, if they were just more this, I would be better. And really, I'm not going to say they don't have a right to what they're requesting from partners, from boyfriends, girlfriends, or bosses. But a lot of the work is really, what are you giving for you? Because when we farm out our safety, our well-being to someone else, we're always in a one down position, meaning, right? Like I'm always looking to be chosen. I'm settling for breadcrumbs. I am not really waiting for the loaf, and right, we're the baker. So helping my clients come back to nurture themselves, set the conditions in here, that has them in a very different way externally in their relationships. That theme is pretty consistent. I will also tell you, Jay, right now consistently is there's a really low grade anxiety in our country. There is war, there is
Yeah.
unrest, there is division, there is financial hardships that are getting real for our lower class and our lower middle class. It is, right? So I'm noticing more and more of, I'll just use the word anxiety, unsureness, uncertainty. When you mix that with, I want you to take care of me, it intensifies that. Because, right, we are kind of going to the world or to our president or somebody, can't you make this better for me? And, right, yes, we can go vote, we can take care, we can, go have our voice met, but that means we have to probably self-care or come back here even more in this climate right now. So they would be the two trends that I'm noticing most.
Well said. 'Cause I think there is that angst, right now. People are feeling that anxiety, and things like that, which is why it's great to have experts like you who are able to dissolve and help and serve, in that regard. How would you like to be remembered?
Great question. For my advocacy and kindness that I always strive with integrity. I've often said, if I was to die, I know I lived my purpose. I spent 25 years in child welfare, all driven by family of origin stuff. And I'm proud of the career, not for the titles I retired at, for the impact and being a healing agent to family systems that are overwhelmed. No one wakes up going, this is the day, Jay, I'm going to abuse my child. They don't. We have perceptions about that in our country, about those people. There are people. They're Americans. And I think being able to be in a system that is really dysfunctional and try to find the best outcomes for family and children has been my lifelong journey as an administrator and ultimately also as a psychotherapist. So I know I'm complete. This is like a gift that I get to go, okay, and who am I next? And so I get to play in that world. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to find another way to be in service after a career of being in service.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. Very heartfelt. Love that. Let them know how they can get in contact with you and who you're specifically looking to serve.
Sure. I am on Instagram at Claudine Chiamonte, and it's not an easy name, so hopefully you'll put some things in there. I have a website called I Am Claudine. It's being upgraded literally as we speak. The domain change happened, and I know it may not be live right this moment as the day of our recording. That's the other way. And then I'm also always available at Claudine at IamClaudine.com. Opportunities. Love Rewired is a masterclass. It's free. Please jump on, learn about your patterns.
When is it? When is that next one?
Next one is actually next Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 at 7:30 Eastern Time. And it's a free course. And it really is very interactive because it's not about the selling. It's about teaching if people can see the costs to themselves that no change has. There's a payoff we get from staying where we are, and there's a cost of changing who we are, and giving them an opportunity to sit in a safe container to experience some change and help them make a choice what they want in their future.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Claudine. It's been an absolute pleasure to
Same here, Jay.
serve. Thank you ever so much. She lives, she sells. Claudine Chiamonte. Thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you so much. Are you